Hey guys, this is Rise, and I'm here with Klazart, bringing you another dual commentary. This time, we are doing the OSL round of 16, and we got quite a few games to do for you today. But we're going to start off with by.Hero versus Tester. Now, this is going to be a ZVP on Chupung Ryeong, and the game started right off the bat, so we'll get right into it. Tester, the Protoss, in the bottom left position of the map. This is a two-player map, so he knows where his opponent by.Hero is, the Zerg, who is in the top right position. Of course, Chupung Ryeong is a fairly new map, and the statistics are somewhat even right now. There's not that many games where you'd really have to say that, you know, it's favored for one race versus the other, and the statistics are pretty even so far. But the statistics vary when you get to the players, and by.Hero has got a 50% win rate, whereas Tester has a 40% win rate. And against Zerg, it's almost 30%. So I can only imagine that by.Hero has a lot or a big advantage going right into the start of things. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see if some cheese comes from one of the players. Again, two-player maps are known for cheese or proxies, whatever you want to call them. So there is a good chance. But Klazart, what do you think about these two players? I know you're a big fan of Tester. You think he's going to be able to pull this one out?
Yeah, Tester's gonna pass the test. He's gonna ace it. No, not. I don't know. It'll be interesting. Tester looks like he's getting about ready to take his natural expo, but he's decided that it's not worth his while scouting unless he sent a probot and I missed it. On the minimap, I don't see. Yeah, he's now sending his probot to scout. So very late scout going out from Tester, and it'll be interesting to see what sort of strategy by.Hero goes for here against him. by.Hero, I think, has gotten like a 5-kill or an all-kill already in the Pro League, where he took out almost an entire Pro League team on his own. So I think that speaks wonders, and I think he is an up-and-coming player who has got some potential. That's by.Hero, by the way, not the other connotation, which has all sorts of strange implications. But sometimes these Korean players, they do choose fairly interestingly ambiguous names, and it looks like by.Hero might have gone for an overpool here. We saw this in a game with a Zerg player versus Stork. I believe it was Zero who confounded Stork with a overpool, although in that game Stork actually went for a one base build to start out with. by.Hero finally managed to get his natural expo down. I'm not sure if his drone is in the ideal position. He might have been forced to put it a little bit further away from his minerals than where he'd like to, so decent harass, and that seems to be a feature on Chupung Ryeong with Protoss players. Even sending that probe out as late as he did, he was able to get the harass done, although if by.Hero had gone for a 12 hatch, that probably wouldn't have worked. So perhaps the early advantage probably to Tester. I'm not sure if overpool is really the best strategy versus a fast expanding Protoss.
Well, to start off, it won't make too much of a difference right off the bat. What he is doing is he's pressuring him enough to make sure that Tester puts down a couple of cannons, which is forced to do because of overpool, but he only has to put down one before he puts down his Nexus because of the amount of time that it takes for the Lynx to get there. So he's probably still going to put down a second cannon because he's going to have to worry about a run-by. And I'd say that he'll be, you know, just slightly ahead of the Zerg, starting right off the bat anyway, in terms of economy. But certainly nothing that by.Hero can't overcome. The other thing about this map is the fact that the natural, and there we see a second expansion right off the bat for by.Hero. So by.Hero realizes that he's got to get right back into the economic game. So he's rushing basically for his economy to make sure it's on top. And that, actually, it looks like Tester's going to scout this. His probe is heading out in that direction, and he's going to get a quick view of what's going on there. But at the same time, he's kind of pointing out one of the interesting parts of the map that I wanted to mention before, and that's the fact that the natural expansion has a open side to it, which in my mind usually favors the Zerg player a little bit over the Protoss players, because what it does is it allows them to go a lurker build or something like that, and really put pressure on for multiple fronts at the natural expansion anyway. So you can go in the front, or you can go in the bottom right side of it, as you can see the opening right there. And you know, certainly something that he can take advantage of to harass the probe line. So certainly I think that he's going to be in pretty good shape, especially getting down this 3 hatch. Now I'm curious to see if he's going to go for that Neo Sauron build that a lot of Zergs have been going lately with the 5 hatch Spire into Hydralisk Den, but it's still a little early for that to see if he does go that. And we'll have to see if Tester scouts out what he's going and reacts accordingly.
Well, he knows that Tester's fast expanded, so he knows that he can afford to get that layer down first. It looks like he is doing that. I haven't seen a Hydralisk Den go for by.Hero. Interesting enough, Tester was on cue, and oh my god, that probe just ran right through those Zerglings. That's not great micro or play by the Zerg player at all. Hugely disappointing. The probe is now going to try and get up the ramp, up past the drone, but the drone blocks it, so at least he managed to recover his mistake there by putting a drone to block the lamp. That was horrible micro by.Hero. He reacted about 2 seconds after the probe went by. But interesting enough, Tester has not scouted the top left-hand expansion. He sent his probe, he was heading his probe in that direction, but he turned around before he got there, and then got his scouting probe killed by Hero Zerglings. But now he's chasing a probe into that 11 o'clock expansion, so he is going to see it now finally, but he's going to see it a lot later than he would have otherwise. I'm not sure if that's really going to make too much of a difference to his strategy, and it looks like the Spire is now going to go down for by.Hero. He's not put a Hydralisk Den down at all. Again, he feels confident that he's going to have those Scourges up before Tester gets any Sares out to do any sort of real harassment, and he's probably right about that because the Stargate is just now coming up, and Citadel of Aden, interesting enough, going up for Tester as well, and I'm not sure if by.Hero will have been able to scout this with his Overlord or not. And it'll be interesting to see if Tester follows that up with a Templar Archives, or if he's going to try and get some speed lots in early.
Yeah, I got a feeling that he's probably going to go for a Sare DT build. There's the Templar Archives right there. So yeah, it is going to be a Sare DT build, which is I think a pretty good idea on this map because he's going to be able to fight a very spread out Zerg right off the bat. So one of the things that by.Hero is going to have to make sure he does is have Overlords at all his bases, and there is the Hydralisk Den as well as the 5th hatchery. So it looks like we are going to see that Neo Sorin build after all. He is going to have the Scourge out early to deal with the Corsairs, and that's going to help at least keep the Corsair numbers down and retain a little bit of air superiority. And then from there, he'll just transition into a either Hydra build or Lurker build, or we've even seen Mass Ling build and Ultra Ling actually as well off this same build. So it's actually a pretty versatile build, and my favorite so far has been the Crackling build. I doubt he'll go that. It looks like he probably is going to go Mass Hydra, and now it looks like he's pumping out a whole bunch of eggs at all his hatcheries. Probably some Hydras to start dealing with, at the very least, Corsairs that are ready to keep taking out his Overlords if he's not able to take them down soon enough. And it looks like that Corsair, though, is going to get a very good scout all over the base and see exactly what's going on. And so now Tester has a chance to adjust his strategy and see if he can get the Sare DT working. And it looks like he's going to prepare with a couple of cannons, which is standard within his base. And there are the DTs, so he's going to be able to send those out and see if he can start doing some damage.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not convinced. Unless the Zerg player is careless and doesn't cover his base with Overlords. Although the fact that he's only seeing one Corsair running around might make him think that perhaps there's nothing coming. The base at the 11 o'clock position does seem to be the most vulnerable. He's got a Sunken down there, but he needs to get an Overlord up as well. A couple of Scourges wandering around as well, trying to catch the Corsair. He's also got Hydralisk up, so his main and natural are probably going to be fine. I don't think they're going to be too much danger, but the DT does look to be heading towards the 11 o'clock expansion. He has got Scourge waiting there, but he hasn't got an Overlord, and he's going to be in trouble there. He's just going to get completely caught off guard, and he's going to actually lose there's a good chance he's going to take a lot of drone damage here, and the GT has turned around and left the 11 o'clock expansion. This is chaos by Tester. He left an undefended expansion, and he's gone for the natural expert, trying to sneak in through the rear entrance, and now he's revealed the DT. So immediately, obviously, by.Hero, who was unaware of the DTs, because even now by.Hero hasn't produced an Overlord. I think one of those larvae is now probably an Overlord going to hatch at the 11 o'clock position, and he's just thrown away the advantage of the DT. So pretty useless by Tester getting the DT and doing nothing with it, and the DT basically is just doing a merry ballerina dance by himself in the middle of the map to no effect.
Yeah, pretty much all it's useful right now is a scout, considering the expansion is certainly self-sufficient at this point, so he's not going to need anything there to deal with that DT. And he's got Overlords and he's got Lurkers, so that single DT certainly isn't going to do anything. And he's really got a very good coverage of Overlords. And it looks like he's sending out a whole bunch of Lings actually down the middle of the map, and he's going to start heading towards Tester's base, see if he can do some damage. He's got Lurkers as well, of course. And oh, he's going to pick off both the Templars before they can do anything. Self-storming, takes out a bunch of Lings, but man, he lost 2 Templars right off the bat, and that is going to be really bad for Tester. Tester's going to have a tough time defending anything, being down 2 Templar right off the bat, and it looks like by.Hero might be considering going around the side with the Lurkers. There is something to going around that side. I don't know if it is. Yeah, it is a Lurker, so he's going to probably try to do some harassment, and he might be able to get a couple of shots off. We'll have to see if he's got any success with that.
Yeah, and the problem for by.Hero, for Tester, is that he doesn't have any observers. He does have photon cannons, and he obviously has the storms to kill the Lurkers, but he doesn't have any observers. And I think there is a Lurker that's behind, unless it's gotten killed. There was a Lurker that was moving behind. I think he did did get a kill, but it looked like he'd avoided the storm, or I mean, he'd not gotten fully killed by the storm. Finally, robotics facility going down. He's still going to be a little bit away from observers, and that was great sniping by Hero. And I have to say, the Zerg player looks in a really strong position right now. He's got his third gas going. He's got it secure. He sniped the 2 High Templar early on from his opponent to really deal some damage. Obviously, Protoss players do have a propensity and an ability to be able to come back in a game like this and dominate, and he isn't really that far behind. But a few crucial mistakes already from Tester. First, with his probe being late in the scout and getting at that 11 o'clock base, and it looks like he's going to get this DT taken on. The DT just about managed to avoid the Zerglings out of range of the Overlords. The Overlords still are not speed upgraded, so that one DT hiding behind the natural of by.Hero is now going to get killed. So the first mistake was with the probe. The second mistake was with the DT when by.Hero did not have an Overlord in his base. He could have done a lot of economic damage, taken down 4 or 5 probes before his opponent would have reacted, and he wasn't able to do that. And now he also allowed 2 High Templar to be picked in, and now by.Hero's economy is kicking into high gear, and he's able to mass produce those units. And Tester hasn't really done anything so far that instills a lot of confidence in me in his ability to be able to defend this. And by.Hero might be able to get a good flank going. It's all going to be down to Micro here.
Yeah, and just look at the size of the force that by.Hero has. It's pretty significant, and he's got a lot of lings. They're all over the goons, too. And look at that. Great Micro. Gets his lings out of the storm just in time. But it looks like Tester's actually going to be able to defend that. He does have an observer out on the field now. But really, the observer is only going to help against the lurkers. There's still the heavy amount of lings and hydras to also back up that small lurker force. And it's going to be very difficult for Tester to take all of that out while trying to expand, which it looks like he's trying to do now. And I doubt that by.Hero is going to allow that to happen, considering he just scouted the probe that was over in that direction. So by.Hero, of course, with all those hydras plus 1 carapace upgrade, he had a double evolution chamber. So I'm not sure what the other upgrade that he was getting was. It was probably ranged attack, but at this moment I'm not sure. And it looks like he's probably set up to go in for an attack at this point now that he has that upgrade, and he's just kind of posturing a little bit, trying to get the best position, try to catch Tester a bit out of position. And as soon as he's able to do that, I think he's going to be able to do a lot of damage if he is indeed able to get a flank off. And but look at that force of Tester. It's actually starting to build up pretty slowly, and once that force gets pretty significant, it's going to be very difficult for a small Hydra Ling force. But oh, look at this. Here comes the flank. He's coming from both sides. Storm's going down. He's all over those goons. There are way too many goons. The Zealots are in the background. They're not able to buffer against the Lings. The Lings are taking a ton of damage, but giving a ton. The Hydras are going to take out all those goons and clean up the rest of this mess, and Tester has to retreat, and he is in a lot of trouble at this point.
Yeah, it looks like Tester's actually not even going to be able to escape. He's just trying to use those goons as a buffer to try and get some storms off. Decent storms. At the end of the day, the Zerg player wasn't left with a large-sized army either, but the Zerg's army is going to build back so much quicker than the Protoss army. It just takes that much longer for a Protoss player to build up. And cleverly, brilliant play by Hero. He kept a small group of about 6 Lings at the 5 o'clock base, and just as soon as the photon cannons and the pylons went down, he brought those Lings out to try and take them out. Tester trying to pull some forces back to try and rescue that base, but all he's going to do is end up getting all of his forces caught by the Zerg player, and he's going to get completely wiped out. And just like that, it's over. The pylons are gone. The probe that was there is destroyed. He's got no storms left for his High Templars. The High Templars are going down as well, and the Dragoons are going down. I was going to say that the one mistake by.Hero was making was that he didn't have a couple of speed upgraded Overlords accompanying his force along with Scourges in the initial battle, and that's why he couldn't really take Tester on earlier when Tester only had the 1 observer. But it looks like he didn't need that in the end. He didn't even need to kill any observers against Tester. He's just overpowering his opponent with superior micro and a superior ground force, as well as superior upgrades. And really, it has to be said, this game has, as far as I'm concerned, been pretty much a no contest, despite Tester getting a fast expand build going against an overpooled Zerg.
Yeah, well, you know what? Tester is only a 30% win rate against Zerg, so I guess it's not too unexpected, although he really did get owned pretty good. And now he's trying to do a last-ditch effort, finally, with the unit combination that I think he needed earlier, which is a lot of Zealots and a couple of Archons to accompany that smaller Dragoon force, which he has now. But, of course, that force is way too small to deal with the 1-1 upgraded Zerg, and GG coming from Tester. So, man, that looks like by.Hero going to win this match, obviously, and move on to with a 1-0 lead to the second match. So it looks like Tester's going to have a tough time trying to get out of this round, because I mean, really, by.Hero just thoroughly owned him, and it was on a pretty evenly even matched or evenly favored map for ZVP. So I don't know if there's much Tester can do.
Yeah, I think Tester's actually 0-2 down already because he played last week. This is the OSL,
so
so they play each player in the
That's
group
right.
one. So I think they play each player in the group once. So I think Tester's if he was looking likely to go out last week, he's looking even more likely now. But by.Hero is looking decent, although I don't think that was a good barometer.
I agree with you, but hey, let's go on to the next match and see if we can get a better GG out of that one.